want to create this in Blender in just some minutes, then stick around with this video and I'm going to perfectly tell you how to create this kind of looping animation, geometric pattern, whatever you call, in just some minutes. And let's get into the video. Let's hang on. So right here I am in Blender and I am in the Geometry Nodes tab. And let's bring in a new geometry node and let's cut this off and let's bring this grid here and let's change this size to maybe something around 3.555 and let's change the vertices around 8 and let's plug this into a split edge node and let's connect this up in here and let's bring in a scale elements node as well. So as soon as let's change this to edge and now let's bring this into wire mode and then let's play with the scale. You can see that this effect is going on. Now what I want is I don't want these faces to be present here. I want these faces to be deleted. So let's convert this mesh to a curve. So let's bring in a mesh to curve node. So I have a mesh to curve node here. So I have only these edges here present and then let's bring in here a fillet curve node and this node is going to really transform this thing into something animatable and then I can just turn this into a poly count and just limit this radius, and if I increase the count you can see I'm having this effect, and if I play with the radius I'm having this effect. Now while changing this radius I can instance some of the objects on these points and then I can have some animation going around with this. So in order to animate this, let's plug this radius to a map range node. This map range node must be controlled by the seconds value. We need to control it by seconds, and if I play this and it's going to have this kind of effect, but I don't want the result to be clamped. Still the from minimum and from maximum values are same, so I need to change this mapping from 0 to 1 to something in between, you say. So let's take this to something around 0.3 and something less than 1 around 0.6. So now if I just increase this, and since I am having this seconds value here, so all of the second from 0 to 1 is being changed. Each second is being changed into this value, but at the time I can't see any of the animation going on because I need to play the seconds between 0 to 1 and then 1 to 0, then 0 to 1, then 1 to 0. So for that I'm going to bring in here a math node and I will just insert a math node in between and I will change this to ping pong. Now ping pong function does what? It's going to, let's change the scale to something around 2 value. Now ping pong value is going to simply alter the this minimum and max values, 2 min and 2 max value from 0.3 to 0.6 alternatively each second. So if I now going to play this, if I just uncheck this limit radius and if I'm now going to play this, you can see this I am having this back and forth effect going on. It's changing around here and then it's going back and then changing around here and going back, and now I need some object to be placed around these points. Bring in here instance on point node. So let's bring in here instance on point node and just plug it in here. On these instances I want is something procedural, and I will just for that go into curve primitives and select this star. So if I view this star, you can see this I have this thing around here and I want maybe 7 of these pointiness thing here and maybe inner radius, so some want down maybe around very less 0.2 or this around maybe around 1.26, and I have checked these values for myself. That's why I'm being precise here with the values, and after that you can, after the completion of this tutorial, you can play around with these value more and check for yourself and just search for a fillet curve node. And I want these, let's change this to poly, maybe bring this around 0.23, maybe around this value is fine. Yeah, I think this is fine. And now I will just get rid of this viewer node and I will just plug this into instance. I want this to be completely turned into a mesh, so let's search for a fill curve node. Fill curve node will automatically take care of this, and let's check this to n-gone, and I have this size really large here, so let's turn this down and bring this to a very less value. And now if I play this animation, you can see these things are being moving around. What I see is that this Z overlapping or Z fighting will be there. So to avoid this, let's realize these instances and this will take care of this. Now this is fine, but what I want is some interconnection between these stars and some lines to be there. Before doing anything else, I want this these stars not to be flat. Add in an extrude mesh node. So let's have an extrude mesh node here. So I don't want this thickness to be really large like this. Is something more greater even. Bring another fillet curve node here. For bringing this, let's view this up. So as you can see this, if I view this up, I have these lines here and I also want these lines to be present. So what we are going to do, let's join these two things up, and now I have these lines in between. Now what I can do is I can play with these lines more and I can add another fillet curve node here, and then I will just plug this into a join geometry. Let's cut this up, and now I have more complications here, and let's increase the radius maybe and decrease this thing up, maybe do this limit radius thing here. So you can see this, I have now extra more flavor going in this animation, and now what I can do is I can give some thickness to these wires. So let's convert this curve into a mesh. So let's search for a curve to mesh node, and in this profile curve I am going to put a curve circle node. Let's bring this subdivision to 8 and let's bring this radius maybe 0.005. I want this very less amount of this thing to be present there. So you can see this, I have this thing going on here, and this is what our animation is going to be. If I go into top view and let's press Ctrl Alt 0 to bring our camera in here, let's click on to camera, and let's go to viewport display and enable this so that I am not seeing anything outside this camera. So I can bring this camera up or down, maybe way farther away from this. I can position the camera, and then I can bring this in up here like this, bring this in the layout view. You can see this, I have this thing going around here, and this animation is going to be really smooth. And then I can like increase the frame rate to maybe around 30 F, and I can check this where the looping is like ending. If I check this to 120, because I have selected the scale here as this ping pong scale to be 2. So if I'm going to change this, this maximum frame count is going to be changed according to this scale. And now, so if I play this with this ping pong value, I'm having an entirely different kind of animation present here, and you can see I can generate different patterns, and I can maybe play with these count, and I can have this thing going around here, and maybe I can take this star, I can change this, and I can play with this. Moreover, I can play with these count as well. So if I'm going to change this count, I'm going to have different animation. Maybe even mute this, then I have a different kind of animation. You can play with these radius values, you can play with these like these count values to like have different animation. You can play with these scale values to like have different patterns around in here. So you can generate many types of different patterns with just playing with these some values, and this is like a very quick animation guide for you. So now let's jump into the shading part, like how quickly we can give this some colorful material to this animation. First of all, let us do one thing. Let's assign a material to this thing here. So let's bring in a set material node here. Let's check in material here, and let's now go to the shading tab. So if I go to the shading tab, let's check this UV, check our ambient occlusion, bloom, screen space reflection, let's performance, high quality normals, and high bit shadows, and then I can go into the rendered view. Because I'm going to use the emission shader, that's why like no light is needed. So I will just now what I will do is let's bring this space in here, and now what I'm going to do is just press in Control T here, and let's bring in here multiply node. I have this multiply node here, and let's plug this into emission, and let's increase the emission to around 1.2 maybe. Let's bring in here a combine XYZ node, and so I will just plug this into rotation. And now what I'm going to do, just change these settings up in here. Maybe I can do one thing here is, you can see that if I am changing this Y value here, this effect is rightly rotating, so I can plug this driver in here. Let's play hashtag frame by 30, and now if I play this up, you can see we are having this sweeping effect, and I can control this by varying some of the other values. And look at this, now I have like a really nice animation going on here, and I can now simply just play with these values here, and I can like change this animation in just fraction of time. Yeah, maybe like decrease this count, I can have this animation, I can just increasing the and decreasing the count, I can have changes over the animation, changing the scale, I can have another kind of animation going on. So this is like a really cool stuff for beginners to play with in terms of geometry node if you are speaking. And I will be putting the link of this blend file in the description, so if you want, you can download this blend file from my Gumroad, and you can contribute anything if you want. And keep learning, guys. Stay tuned to my channel, subscribe it, like the video, and I'm also putting my Blender Market link in the description. So I have some plugins in and around Blender, like some shaders and some procedural material, procedural modifiers, so you can have fun with those, have a good time with those, and like save your time while doing different things. Okay, all right guys, play with these things, and let's meet in another video. Okay, bye bye for now.